Hi, this is Danny Gibbons completing the prac with the second interview of Michelle Smith. This is my volunteer, Kate. Kate, are you happy to be filmed?
Yes.
Great, let's begin. Hi, Michelle. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
How did you go? Did you get the parking this time?
Yeah, easier.
So much better, isn't it, around the corner? Lovely to have you back again. I wanted to ask how have things been since last time I saw you?
Well, I'm very relieved that I've made the decision to keep studying.
Yes, good.
But I am, as it gets closer to actually starting, I'm feeling a bit stressed that I'm going to be able to manage it all.
Yeah, and we'll unpack that a little bit in
Right.
this session. Well done for making that decision. That's a huge thing. To have made a decision like that and to be able to moving forward in that direction is already a big achievement. So just want to let you know today's session is going to be a bit shorter. We'll have just over 10 minutes. So thinking back to how things were last time,
Yes.
I'm just going to look at the goals that we had.
Okay.
So from last time we were talking about goals were being about managing the time so that you were able to fit the CPA in.
Yep.
And also about communication. So those were the things that you indicated last time that you wanted to continue working on.
Okay. Yep.
Are those still your priorities, or have you got something else you wanted to look into?
No, I think the time is a good one because I know in the past I've scheduled blocks of time, but other things always, I never study in those blocks that I say I will.
Okay, all right. So just, you don't mind me taking notes?
No, that's fine.
No. So time management still a goal.
Yes.
And so you've indicated that you've in the past made sessions and times to do your study, but you haven't really managed to stick to that. Can you tell me a bit more?
Yes. So I tried blocking out time, but then my kids would need something, and I always feel like a bad mother if I don't prioritize their needs first, or the house will need cleaning, or there's just so many things to do, and that when I sit, I kind of, when I think about studying, instead I just am in those blocks. Instead I just go and do something, and I sort of almost make myself feel better because I'm doing something that needs to be done, and that I just feel like I'm being a bit more productive because I just worry that I'm a bad student, so sometimes I try and put off that studying.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that even though you are creating time, you're finding yourself drawn to other areas of your life to work on being productive, so that you feel like you're not failing the kids, or is that, or failing the house, or would that be an accurate way?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm always failing something.
That must feel quite stressful, I can imagine. I'm just noticing your body language is sort of showing that you do feel a bit stressed. Would that be accurate? Are you feeling?
Yes. As we get, I made the decision, but as we get closer to studying again, I am, worrying that, I won't be able to keep up with the kids or the house, or, and then, I try to be organized and study, but then it falls apart. So then, in the week leading up to exams, I'm just not sleeping very much because I'm studying when everyone goes to bed, and then I don't sleep enough, and I don't, at work I'm not doing great, and I'm irritable at home, and it's just, and study's about to start, so that's about to start.
And we touched on some of this before, this feeling of too many balls in the air. And one of the things that we did mention as something to look into was a bit of communication about your needs with your family. Did you have a chance to do that?
I mean, you know, it's hard because my husband's at work all the time. So that responsibility of getting everything done really falls on me.
Yeah. Although, maybe let's just look at that in a different light. Just possibly, would you consider that your husband is equally responsible for the children as you are, being that they're his children as much as yours?
I mean, it's just, I've never really thought, I mean, I suppose, but it's always just been that I've taken care of the children, and then I added more and more work, and now I'm studying, and it's just the way it's been. You know, I need to be a good mother.
And on that, being a good mother, what have you seen any evidence from anywhere in your life that makes you feel like you might not be a good mother?
You know, I just worry about if I'm not there to like help kids in the morning or pick them up from school. You know, I'm already not doing that because I'm working more. And so, but I suppose like, I mean, the kids are doing pretty well. They're pretty happy and doing well at school.
So the kids are doing well. So, I mean, if you were a bad mother, do you think the children would be able to be as successful as they are?
I mean, maybe not. It's just, you know, I'm trying to do so much that I see other people have more time with their children.
And with other people having more time with their children, are they also children the same age as your children, or are they younger children, do you think?
Yeah, maybe they're younger children.
So, given the age and stage that your children are in, 15 and 17, do you feel that it's necessary to do as much for them as you did when they were younger, or is there a possibility that they might be able to do a bit more?
Yeah, I mean, they could. Sometimes it's just so much effort to get them to do something. But yeah, I mean, you know, my son is nearly sort of, you know, in 6 months he'll be 18. So yeah.
And you know, perhaps is it possible to consider that being a good mother is teaching him how to do those things, or to giving him the responsibility of doing a bit more?
Yeah, it's an interesting way to put it.
Maybe there's a benefit in taking the pressure off yourself to both of you.
Yeah, I mean, I just worry that, you know, the house would fall apart and, you know, that kind of.
But again, are you the only person responsible for the house?
Yeah, I mean, I that's how it falls.
And does that strike you as a fair arrangement in your home?
I mean, I don't know. It's just what we do.
Okay. So, you're feeling, from what I see, you're feeling that because it's always been that way, it's always been your responsibility, that's how it should continue. Would that sum up what you're feeling?
I mean, I haven't really thought about it. I've just always done this stuff and then added more onto my plate and tried to squeeze it in and fit it in.
And how does that make you feel, to have all of these things constantly?
It's you know, I'm irritable at home. I don't sleep enough. Like, it's not great, but I want to be a good mother. I want a nice house. I want to progress my career. So there's just all these things.
Yeah. And how do you think it would feel if some of those responsibilities were shared?
Oh, I mean, that would be a relief, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Do you think it would be fair to the family to would that be something that you think would relieve that anxiety a bit more, or would that add to the anxiety to have the conversation, do you think?
I mean, I think having the conversation would add to the anxiety, but if the conversation went well, then it might help take some pressure off me.
Yeah. So I'm hearing that if there was a way to develop the conversational skills and how to approach these things, that it might be something you'd want to do to relieve that anxiety on yourself and maybe create a fairer system at home. With that, am I hearing that correctly?
Yeah, I think so. If that, like, what do you think that fairness might look like?
What do you think that fairness
Yeah.
might look like? What would it look like for you at home?
I mean, yeah, like someone taking some of that, you know, even if someone helped with some of the driving of the kids or with some of the housework,
Yeah.
that might free up some time for me to study.
Yeah. And do you think that's a reasonable expectation of teenagers, to be able to contribute a bit more to the house, and of your husband to maybe do a bit more driving? Do you feel that's reasonable?
I mean, my husband works really late hours, so that might be tricky, but there may be other people I can reach out to, or, you know, we're both working full time, you know, maybe I could talk to him about a cleaner or something if he wasn't willing to, like, take on that responsibility.
Okay. And are there any other options, do you think, other than driving for the kids for some of these things?
I mean, I suppose school is pretty close. They could walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the possibility of the kids walking and maybe doing a little bit around the house?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, that might, like we said, add some stress in the thing setting it up. But maybe my husband does think the kids should do more, so that's something he might support me in, helping the children take a bit more of that responsibility.
And that's great when you can find equal footing on that as well, where you both are in agreement for something that's going to be beneficial to you and him, and to your relationship if you're both feeling it too, and also to the kids.
Yes.
So that might be a really good place to start. And you know, you said you create these blocks of time that you're finding hard to stick to. Do you think that skill that you've got in time managing that you've got there, do you think that you'd be able to maybe stick to those areas? Because that's a really great thing to be able to do, to schedule time.
Yeah, I mean, if I release some of that, but like my other thing is that I think sometimes I avoid studying because I'm worried I won't do it well, so I go and do something else instead. So if we free up the time, that's good, but I've also got to, like, actually do it.
So you're worried that you won't do well at school. And what's the study? How have your scores been? How have you been going so far?
I mean, I've always done very well, so I'm like worried I won't do well.
Okay. So given that you've always done well, and you've been under so much pressure, and you've still managed to always do well, do you think that's a realistic worry, that you're going to suddenly change the way you succeed, having more time?
Yeah, I mean, probably not. I probably need to trust myself a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, you've clearly, the fact that you've managed to do so well with all of this pressure is a huge win, and it might be good to reflect on that, to look back to that, and maybe to refocus back to your successes rather than getting caught up in those worries that are.
Yeah, I do that. I always look at the oh no, and forget about the things that I have done or achieved. Yeah.
So maybe it's about looking at the evidence a little bit more for you, because the evidence of you as a parent seems to be that you're doing a wonderful job. The evidence seems to be of your studies that you're doing a wonderful job, and being able to remember those things maybe will help to reduce that anxiety and the need to run away. Would that be something that would that be something you feel as well? Or?
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Okay, look, we're going to have to finish up pretty soon, but I just wanted to look at, so for some strategies for next time, maybe would you be comfortable maybe talking to your husband about
Yeah, I think definitely about the children doing more, and then
Yeah.
maybe if that goes well, maybe what else he could do or other people we could rely on might be a conversation with him. Yes.
Okay, so between now and the next session, maybe just maybe looking at that as a strategy, just
Okay.
having that one conversation.
Yep.
So let me just sum up what I've thought has happened. So I hear that you've been quite anxious about the studies,
Yes.
and that you've made time, but you can't manage the time because you're prioritizing other areas of your life in the efforts to try and be successful in those areas, but also maybe a little bit avoiding the fear of failure. Would that be an accurate
That sounds
summary?
Yes, it does.
And so now we've looked at the idea of looking at the evidence that maybe those worries are not as prevalent as you might sort of be thinking, and that we've got a strategy in place between now and next week that might maybe take a little bit of pressure off. Would that work for you?
I think that's something to definitely try. Yes.
All right. Well, I look forward to hearing about it next week, Michelle, how you go with that conversation, and thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for your time.
Hi there, this is my part B reflection on my interview with Michelle Smith. Please excuse my cat, who seems to be bumping into the thing. So for the first part, taking notes, I did take some good notes through the session. I was quite happy with my note taking, with that I managed to put quite a lot of information in there while we were doing the session, and I was of course sort of still making eye contact, and it didn't distract from what was happening. I think I used good communication skills. To engage with the client. I think that went very well. I think I did well with challenging and reframing the questions. I feel like I'm quite good at doing the challenging and reframing. I think the part that I didn't do much this was refocusing, but I think that's because we didn't really have a lot of time, so they weren't really going off topic. Like, everything that was being said was quite relevant. I'm so sorry, my camera is being bumped by the cat who wants to be patted right now. But I think that was sort of the main part of it, was really trying to stay on topic. wasn't really relevant because it's such a short interview. So I suppose that's something I will have to practice, but I think in these very short videos, it's hard to go off topic because all the things that they're saying are very relevant to what they're here for, getting their help with. So I guess that didn't work as well, but I'm not sure how to improve that. I guess another thing I should have done differently, I wasn't sure if I was supposed to be, because it was a short session, I wasn't sure if it was supposed to have the interventions and strategies and the next week focus, because it wasn't in the documentation, but I also thought it's kind of hard to conclude without it, and also because the counselling notes mentioned that, I thought it was important to sort of bring it up. So I did go a little tiny bit over time because I did want to make sure I at least sort of touched on that. So hopefully that was the right thing to do. Areas I need to develop, I think I'm getting better with the time management. I've got the little alarm on, but yeah, when the time went off, I was like, oh my gosh, what happens now? So developing, I guess, a better sense of the time, and I guess trying to be able to reframe and challenge without not putting my opinion in. I'm trying not to put my opinion in, but it's kind of hard to know with reframing whether you are as well, or whether it's just knowledge, getting them to look at something from the other side. I don't want to be pushing an agenda, but I also am a bit confused about how reframing can be done without or challenging as well. How you can do that without
without giving a bit of opinion, and if that's okay. I'd like a bit more clarity about that, really, so that I can develop it better. Hopefully I'm not being too pushy. I don't want to be. That's something that if I am, I'd like to know. I did ask my volunteer afterwards if she felt that was something that she felt like I was leading her towards things, and she said that she didn't feel that way, but obviously, that would be good to know. So integrate developmental theory into the work. So I think that with this particular client, Michelle, I think would be good to do a bit of learning theories. I'd like to do some positive reinforcement with her. I think I do that with my body language and everything, but I mean a little bit of working on some positive or negative reinforcement for her, strategies for going home to work on. That's sort of more learning theories, I suppose, than developmental theories. But I suppose there's that you could look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, in that she sort of feels like her self-esteem is something to work on, because she's got the security in all of those other areas, but definitely working on that self-esteem area for her would be something I would consider. Looking into how to build that